my name is Steve Setman. I am Orange County's probation chief. In 2008, our juvenile hall was bursting at the seams, and all of our beds at our 5 other juvenile facilities were full. In total, we had over 900 kids in custody at any given time. Juvenile caseloads were high, case processing was slow, and our ability to collect accurate data was underdeveloped. While the department had implemented some evidence-based practices, we had not begun a look at our juvenile justice reform from a global perspective. It was during this time that we reached out to the Annie E. Casey Foundation for assistance with developing a detention risk assessment instrument. The purpose of the risk assessment instrument is to objectively screen youth to determine which youth can safely remain or safely be supervised in the community. The creation of our RAI was a collaborative project involving system stakeholders. In the spring of 2009, we launched our first generation RAI with promising results. As our juvenile hall population began to decline, we were able to focus on other areas of reform. In 2010, we officially became a Juvenile Detention Alternatives Initiative JDAI site through the Casey Foundation. In doing so, we committed to focusing on 8 core objectives: collaboration, data-driven decision-making, using an objective risk assessment, identifying and creating alternatives to detention, expediting case processing, managing special detention cases, a deliberate commitment to reducing racial, ethnic, and gender disparities, and improving conditions for youth in confinement. In the 6 years since we began this journey, we have made significant progress across many domains. Most notable, we have closed 2 juvenile facilities and decreased our institutional population by over 50%. Yet, that is only a small portion of our story.
We have been involved with the Annie E. Casey Foundation since 2008 and an official Juvenile Detention Alternatives Initiative site, also known as JDAI, since 2009. Essentially, the goal of JDAI is to give youth involved in the juvenile justice system the opportunities to develop into healthy adults. In the last 6 years, we have embarked on many endeavors directly related to JDAI. However, I am going to focus on 3 specific areas, including improving conditions of confinement, collaboration, and reducing racial, ethnic, and gender disparities. When we became a JDAI site, we committed to completing a comprehensive self-assessment of our juvenile hall every 2 years. It is important to note that the standards for the self-assessment were created by youth advocacy groups and far exceed standards established by local, state, and federal regulations. Further, the self-assessment is done in addition to all of the other legally mandated local and state inspections. In late 2011, we began the search for both system and community stakeholders to participate in the assessment. Once the team was selected, representatives from the Youth Law Center provided training on how to conduct the physical inspection. A juvenile hall administrator served as the liaison with the team and provided information and access as needed and requested. Once the inspection was completed, the results were compiled into a comprehensive report and presented to the presiding judge of the juvenile court, Juvenile Justice Commission, and any other entity with an invested interest in the conditions of juvenile hall. A remediation team was formed and there were steps taken to address areas not in compliance. The entire process was quite lengthy and we learned a great deal about how to more efficiently conduct the next inspection. In late 2014, we began to assemble a team for our second biennial self-assessment. This time, we were far more familiar with the process, making it much smoother. Both facility staff and the collaborative agencies working within our detention facility were better informed and far more receptive to the process the second time around. Furthermore, many of the areas identified in the first self-assessment as needing remediation had already been addressed. Currently, we are in the final stages of collecting the assessment results. We expect to have the final report by the end of 2015. Youth and their families involved in the juvenile justice system are impacted by a multitude of different agencies. Further, the resources available in the community can make a dramatic impact on the outcomes. Bringing together both system partners and community representatives who have the authority to make decisions on behalf of their agencies is critical. For the last several years, we have utilized 2 forums to further our collaboration. The first is the JDAI Executive Steering Committee meeting. This meeting is chaired by the presiding judge of juvenile court and the probation chief deputy overseeing JDAI. Participants include the public defender, district attorney, Department of Education, healthcare agency, social services, law enforcement, and representatives from community-based organizations. In the initial stages, the group decided upon a mission statement, which was to enhance public safety through achieving better outcomes for system-involved youth. Much of the focal point of this group has been on handling of special detention populations, such as youth whose parents refuse custody, placement youth, and commercially sexually exploited children. The second collaborative meeting that has consistently met is the Alternatives to Detention meeting. This meeting serves as our primary partnership with community-based organizations and is currently chaired by our JDAI coordinator and a representative from a community-based organization. Over the years, this group has identified and focused on a variety of issues, including truancy, reducing racial and ethnic disparities, and restorative justice. Reducing racial and ethnic disparities is one of the 8 core objectives of JDAI and an ongoing focus for our department. In 2010, we received a grant from the state designed to create the infrastructure to collect accurate data on our youth. This allowed us the ability to share the data with our stakeholders and illuminate where disparities exist. Our staff have received multiple training on reducing ethnic disparity, also known as the acronym RED, as well as implicit bias. In 2014, a team from our department and a representative from a community-based organization participated in a certificate program at Georgetown University focused on RED. As a result of that training, we have implemented multiple programs to engage and educate parents. As our capstone project, we looked at our diversion population. After identifying that youth of color were being disproportionately referred to the district attorney, we were able to implement policies and programs specifically aimed at reducing that disparity. The information in this video is only a narrow snapshot of the work we have done in Orange County toward juvenile justice reform. We have both system and community-based partners committed to doing what is in the best interest of our youth.
My name is Doug Sanger. I'm the director of Orange County Juvenile Hall. One of the core strategies of the Juvenile Detention Alternatives Initiative is improving conditions of confinement. One of the key areas of concern was the lack of programming provided to youth, particularly programming provided by the staff. We have substantially increased the amount of programming provided to youth in the last several years. The Pups and Wards program, or PAW program, allows youth to train and socialize dogs rescued from the Orange County Animal Shelter. At the end of a 10-week program, a graduation ceremony is held and the youth turn the dogs over to individuals or families who adopted the dogs and are providing them with permanent homes. The response of the youth and staff to the Pups and Wards program has been very positive. Many of the staff have actually chosen to adopt the dogs that go through the program and taken them home, provided them a permanent home. In addition, the youth learn good skills on social skills, how to get along with other youth, and how to take care of an animal is an important skill also because it teaches them empathy and caring for another person or another animal. Another key change has been implementation of staff-led programs proven to reduce recidivism. Initially, staff facilitated the Thinking for a Change program, which is for youth with longer commitments. This is a 25-session program which teaches youth how to think in a more pro-social way and also provides instruction on critical social skills. As we progressed in the implementation of JDAI, we found that the average length of stay in Juvenile Hall was rapidly declining, and there was a need for a short, open cognitive behavioral program for youth. The Probation Department contracted with 2 authors of Thinking for a Change to create the Decision Points program. Decision Points is a 5-session program that also teaches youth to think in a more pro-social way. Prior to this, there was really no staff-led programming going on prior to the JDAI initiative. And since that time, with bringing in training staff in all of these programs, we've also trained them in other areas like adolescent brain development, trauma-informed care, and there's been a huge change in the way that staff interact with youth in a positive way.
My name is Daniel Hernandez. I'm Director of Juvenile Supervision for the Orange County Probation Department, and I was our first JDI coordinator when we first got involved in the initiative back in 2008. One of our first projects that we took on when we started with JDI was the development of our detention risk assessment instrument. And we did that by assembling a group of system stakeholders, and we started to look at some of the other systems that were out there that have been developed by other sites. Something we learned early on was that it was really important to reach out to our law enforcement partners. So we held a lot of meetings and presentations with various police departments. And we also created a DVD that we distributed to all of our police departments because we wanted people to not only understand the process, but also understand the philosophy and the reasons behind what we were doing. When we initially implemented the detention risk assessment, we saw a pretty significant reduction in our detention rates by 21%, and then we also noticed that our violation rates on our home detention program, which was an alternative to that initial detention, did not increase, and also our new law violations pending that first court appearance did not increase. In 2009, we transformed these 2 youth reporting centers that we had that were serving a different purpose. They were actually being used for intensive supervision, and we transformed those into an alternative to detention. We have a fully accredited high school as well as a relationship with our healthcare agency that provides mental health services on site. In addition to those risk reduction services that we provide, we also try to help them to comply with their court orders, and so we provide community service opportunities at the site. So we do on-site community service where youth are doing activities that are helping nonprofit agencies in our community, such as building sleeping mats for the homeless, or they're also knitting clothes and sewing pillowcases for kids who are battling cancer. They're a very challenging population, but that being said, we've also included a very comprehensive incentive program. And so we're not only identifying positive behaviors that they're doing and rewarding those behaviors, we also have a very structured way of rewarding attendance at the site. The creation of these youth reporting centers, they're actually part of our overall graduated response system that we've also created as a part of JDAI.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Pulliam. I'm our JDAI coordinator. Being the JDAI coordinator is both challenging and exciting for me. It's challenging because we span across 3 different divisions: juvenile field services, juvenile court services, and also our institutional division. So it takes a lot to try to keep my finger on understanding what's happening in all of those different areas because all 3 are always doing different things. But it's exciting for me because I feel like in this assignment I'm really able to make the most impact that I possibly could across all of those divisions, as opposed to if I had my own caseload, it would be much smaller. And I came to probation to be impactful for the youth that we serve.
The best part about implementing JDAI has been the reduction in population in Juvenile Hall. It makes Juvenile Hall a much safer place, and quite frankly, there was no need to keep those kids incarcerated. The research point proves that the community is just as safe as it was before, and maybe safer, because we're not incarcerating the wrong kids. And the ones that are there are high needs and high risk, and we're able to provide better services to them because there's fewer of them in custody and it's a safer place.
In the immediate future, we plan on focusing on 3 very specific areas for JDAI. One is making revisions to our detention risk assessment instrument to ensure we are detaining only those youth who are likely to commit a new law violation or not appear in court. Secondly, we want to conduct a true analysis of our diversion population and look at the sanctions that result in better outcomes. And 3, we want to create a restorative justice program here in Orange County.
JDAI has done many things for the Orange County Probation Department. It has enhanced our collaboration amongst stakeholders. It has improved our processes in the juvenile justice system, and most importantly, we're ensuring that we are doing right by the youth that we serve in the County of Orange.